Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to start qualifying for the TikTok Gatornationals. Mario Kart on the line, ready to go. All 5 classes. Here, motorcycles debut for the season. At this race, we start with Mario Kart. And the first Mario Kart is a new Mario Kart. It is Tanuki Mario. Now number 25. 25 Mario Karts, trying to qualify for a 16-car field. At 172 flat for Tanuki Mario. So Tanuki Mario goes number 1 for now. Our first pair, we have Shy Guy in a new kart in the far lane, and Light Blue Yoshi in the near lane. A 168.5 for Shy Guy, and a 170 with a 6 for Light Blue Yoshi. I can't speak. Shy Guy 1, Yoshi 2. Our next pair, we have Rosalina in the far lane. We have Bowser Jr. in the near lane. And a 174.8 for Rosalina, a 176.1 for Bowser Jr. Rosalina goes number 4. Bowser Jr. goes number 5. Our next pair, we have Baby Peach in the near lane and Baby Mario in the far lane. Good run. A 173.3 for Baby Peach and a 174.3 for Baby Mario. Baby Peach 4, Baby Mario 5. Our next pair, we have Wario in the far lane. We have Koopa Troopa in the near lane. A 172.9 for Wario and a 173.2 for Koopa Troopa. Gonna sound like a broken record, but Wario 4, Koopa Troopa 5. Our next pair, we have Waluigi in the far lane, Toadette in the near lane. $174.4 for Waluigi and $176.7 for Toadette. Waluigi to 8, Toadette to 11. Our next pair, we have Donkey Kong in the far lane, Cat Peach in the near lane. $173.5 for Donkey Kong and a $174.2 for Cat Peach. Donkey Kong goes to number 7. Cat Peach goes to number 8. Our next pair, we have Luigi in the far lane, Green Yoshi in the near lane. At 171.5 for Green Yoshi and a 171.6 for Luigi. Green Yoshi to number 3. Luigi to number 4. Our next pair, we have Red Yoshi in the far lane, Diddy Kong in the near lane. A 171.8 for Red Yoshi. A 172.2 for Diddy Kong. Red Yoshi to number 5. Donkey Kong to number 7. Your bump spot is now Bowser Jr. with that 176.1. Up next, we have King Bowser in the far lane, Baby Luigi in the near lane. A 171.4 for Baby Luigi and a 171.6 for Bowser. King Bowser up to number 3, Baby Luigi to number 6. Waluigi now your bump spot with a 174.4. Our next pair, we have Mario in the near lane, Princess Peach in the far lane. Mario had a little bit of struggle there. 170.5 for Princess Peach, a 176.6 for Mario. Princess Peach goes to number 2. Mario will not get in the show. He sits number 20. Baby Mario is on the bump with a 174.3. Our next pair, we got Dry Bones in the near lane. And the TikTok Desert Nationals winner, Lakitu in the far lane. A 168 flat for Lakitu and a 170 with an 8 for Dry Bones. Lakitu goes to the number 1 spot. Dry Bones goes number 5. Donkey Kong on the bump with a 173.5. And our final pair of Mario Kart qualifying session number 1, we have Light Blue Shy Guy, the Winter Nationals winner, in the near lane. and Toad in the far lane. $170 is a 2 for Toad and a 172 flat for Light Blue Shy Guy. Toad goes number 3. Light Blue Shy Guy goes number 13. After one session of qualifying, here's your standings for Mario Kart. Lagatoo, your number 1 qualifier. The 168 flat. Followed by Shy Guy, Toad, Princess Peach, Light Blue Yoshi, Dry Bones, Bowser, and Green Yoshi rounding out the top 8. Bottom half of the field, Baby Luigi, Luigi number 9, followed by Baby Luigi, Red Yoshi, Tanuki Mario, Light Blue Shy Guy, Donkey Kong, Wario, and Koopa Troopa on the bump with a 173-2. Currently not qualified, with Baby Peach, Donkey Kong, Cat Peach, Baby Mario, Waluigi, Rosalina, Bowser Jr., Mario, and Toadette. Pro Stock Thundercycle, qualifying session 1, next. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the TikTok Gatornationals. It's time for Pro Stock Thundercycle qualifying session 1, their first race of the year, of the season. Up first, we have number 20 qualifier, number 20 in Angelica's old bike. This is Mar over here. And number 19, also new to the class. Yes, this is Nathan's bike. But Nathan has stepped out, and Nate has stepped in. 2 different people. So we have Mar in the far lane, Nate in the near lane. First runs of motorcycle. 180 with a 4 for Mar and a 182.5 for Nate. Mar goes number 1, Nate goes number 2. Our next pair, we have Michael in the far lane, who is getting a new motorcycle coming soon. And Lin in the near lane also has a new motorcycle coming soon. $188.4 for Michael and $188.5 for Lin. Michael 3, Lin 4. Our next pair, 2 more riders are getting new bikes, new Thundercycles. We got Samantha in the far lane, and we have King in the near lane. $184.1 for King and a $188.3 for Samantha. Our next pair, we have Terry in the far lane and Ray Ray in the near lane. Two good runs, a 182.6 for Terry, a 182.5 for Ray Ray. Good run. Our next pair, we have Caleb in the far lane, Violet in the near lane. Ray Ray went 3, Terry went 4. So 179.3 for Caleb and 181.4 for Violet. Caleb takes the top spot. Violet goes number 3. Up next, we have James in the far lane, Sinister on the Team Thunder bike in the near lane. Sinister a 180 with an 8, James a 182.8. Sinister goes to number 3 spot, James goes to number 8. Our next pair, we have Eric in the far lane and Scotty in the near lane. A 177 flat for Eric, he's going to take the number 1 spot. 183.7 for Scotty. Eric goes to number 1 spot, Caleb goes number 10. Our next pair, we have Philip in the near lane, Steve in the far lane. Steve a 178.8, Philip a 182.3. Steve goes number 2, Philip goes number 7. I did make a mistake. I said Caleb went 10 in that last run. That was Scotty. And he's down to the number 12. Caleb's in the number 3 spot. I'm not fully awake for this yet, but I'm still racing. Our bump spot is Lin on the right now with a 188.5. Up next, we have Vegeta in the far lane, Michelle in the near lane. $177.5 for Vegeta and $178.2 for Michelle. Vegeta goes number 2, Michelle goes number 3. And our final pair, with Samantha now on the bump, 188 with a 3. we have runner-up Dallas in the far lane, and the reigning world champion Snow in the near lane. A 178-1 for Snow and a 179-4 for Dallas. Snow goes number 3, Dallas goes number 7. After one session of Pro Stock Thundercycles, here is your field. Eric is your number 1 qualifier currently, the 177 flat, followed by Vegeta, Snow, Michelle, Steve, Caleb, Dallas, and Mar rounding out your top 8. At the bottom half, Sinister sitting number 9, followed by Violet, Philip, Nate, Rachel, Terry, James, and Scotty rounding out, or Scotty on the bump, 183-7. Currently not qualified, King, Samantha, Michael, and Linlin. Pro Stock, qualifying session number 1, next. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the TikTok Gatornationals. It's time for Pro Stock, qualifying session number 1. Up first, we have Alan Johnson in the far lane, Jason Line in the near lane. Alan Johnson, a 173-3 to start Pro Stock. What a run. 184-5 for Jason Line. Alan Johnson goes 1. Jason Line goes number 2. Out of his first 2. Our next pair, we have Greg Anderson in the front lane, V Gaines in the near lane. V Gaines, 182.5 and a 188.4 for Greg Anderson. V Gaines goes number 2, Greg Anderson goes number 4. Our next pair, we have Warren Johnson in the far lane, Kenny Koretsky in the near lane. Warren Johnson, a 182.3. Kenny Koretsky, a 183.3. So Warren Johnson, number 2. Kenny Koretsky, number 4. Our next pair, we have Roger Dodger in the far lane. Vidusky in the near lane. Roger Dodger, a 175.3. Vidusky, a 180 flat. Roger Dodger goes number 2. Vidusky goes number 3. Our next pair, we have Dave Hazard in the far lane, Eric Anders in the near lane. They're running a 178.4 for Eric Anders, a 180 with a 9 for Dave Hazard. Anders goes number 3. Hazard goes number 5. Our next pair, we got CM Punk in the far lane, Fireball in the near lane. CM Punk a 174.7, Fireball a 177.4. CM Punk goes number 2, Fireball goes number 4. Our next pair, we have Bones in the far lane, Dave Conley in the near lane. Bones a 175 flat, Dave Conley a 177.4. Bones goes number 3, Dave Conley goes number 6. Our next pair, we have Big E in the far lane, John Cena in the near lane. And John Cena, a 174.7. Big E, a 176.7. John Cena goes number 3. Big E goes number 6. Greg Anderson is now your number 16 qualifier. On the bump, the 188.4. Up next, we have Hockey in the far lane, Civic in the near lane. Civic a 174.8, a 176.2 for Hockey. Civic goes number 4, Hockey goes number 7. Kenny Koretsky now on the bump, the 183.3. We have Toyota in the far lane. Zan bringing out the car that he raced last season and won most of those races in the near lane. And a 171.6 for Zan and a 172.6 for Toyota. Zan goes number 1. Toyota goes number 2. Warren Johnson now on the bump, the 182.3 in our final pair. We got Fast Fish in the far lane, reigning world champion, and Boma in the near lane. Fast Fish a 170 with a 0. Boma 174 flat. Fast Fish goes right to the number 1 spot. Boma goes number 5. Here are your current Pro Stock standings after session number 1. Fast Fish, your number 1 qualifier with a 170 flat, 1.700. Followed by Zan, Toyota, Alan Johnson, Boma, CM Punk, John Cena, and Civic rounding out the top 8. Bottom half of the field, number 9 Bones, followed by Roger Dodger, Hockey, Big E, Fireball, Dave Conley, Erica Enders, and Vidusky on the bump with a 180 flat. Currently not qualified. Dave Hazard, Warren Johnson, V Gaines, Kenny Koreski, Jason Line, and Greg Anderson. Funny card, session 1, next. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the TikTok Gatornationals. It's time for Funny Card Qualifying Session 1. 23 funny cards. We start with Ron Caps. He gets a bye run. What will he run? 180 with a 3 for Ron Caps. So our first pair with Ron Caps going straight to number 1 spot since he's first card down. We have Tony Bartone in the far lane and Frank Pedrion in the near lane. Frank Pedrion a 178.6, Tony Bartone a 184 flat. Frank Pedrion goes number 1, Tony Bartone goes number 3. Our next pair, we have Courtney Force in the far lane and Tommy Johnson Jr. in the near lane. .180 with a 1 for Courtney and a 183.3 for Tommy Johnson Jr. Courtney Force goes number 2, Tommy Johnson Jr. goes number 4. Our next pair, we have Matt Hagan in the Direct Connections Mopar. Direct Connections Dodge on the other side, on the far lane. And Bob Gilbertson in the near lane. In the Prestone Autolite XP funny car. Still a new funny car for Hagan. It's still working itself in. A 184.6 for Gilbertson, 205.7 for Hagan. Gilbertson goes 6th, Hagan goes 7th. Next, we got John Force in the near lane, Robert Height in the far lane. John Force a 180 with a 9, and Robert Height at 182.3. John Force goes number 4, Robert Height goes number 5. Next, we got Tony Pedrion in the far lane, Del Worsham in the near lane. Tony Pedrion a 178.9, Del Worsham a 181 flat. Tony Pedrion goes number 2, Del Worsham goes number 6. Our next pair, we have Jim Epler in the far lane, Dale Creasy Jr. in the near lane. Epler 176.0, he's going to go right to the number 1 spot, a 180 with a 6 for Creasy. Jim Epler goes to number 1. Dale Creasy Jr. goes number 6. Our next pair, we have Scoop Ricardo in the far lane. Mellon in the near lane. Mellon hasn't been running good the last 2 races, and he is reigning world champion. How about that one, though? 173.9, he'll go to number 1, and Ricardo will go 177.9. Mellon goes number 1. Ricardo goes number 3. Our next pair, we have Jimmy Pedrion in the far lane, Sinister in the near lane. Sinister a 173.7. He will take the number 1 spot. Jimmy Pedrion a 178.1. Sinister goes to the number 1 spot. Jimmy Pedrion goes to the number 5 spot. Bob Gilbertson is now your number 16 bump spot with a 184.6. Up next, we have Mello in the far lane and Cruz Pedrion in the near lane. $171.3 for Mello and a 173 flat for Cruz. Mello 1, Cruz 2. Your number 16 qualifier is now Tommy Johnson Jr. with a 183.3. In our next pair, we have Haletic in the far lane and Eric in the near lane. Former teammates. And a 174.3 for Haletic and a 174.8 for Eric. Haletic goes number 5. Eric goes number 6. Del Worsham is now on the bump with a 181 flat in our final pair of funny car qualifying session number 1. We have Thunder in the far lane, Fisher in the near lane. $171.9 for Fisher and $172.7 for Thunder. Fisher goes number 2, Thunder goes number 3. Here's your standings after funny car qualifying session number 1. Mello is your number 1 qualifier currently with a 171.3, followed by Fisher, Thunder, Cruz Pedregon, Sinister, Mellon, Haletic, and Eric rounding out the top 8. Your bottom half of the field, number 9 qualifiers, Jim Epler, followed by Ricardo, Jimmy Pedregon, Frank Pedregon, Tony Pedregon, say that 3 times fast, Courtney Forrest, Ron Capps, and Dale Creasy Jr. on the bump with a 180 with a 6. Currently not qualified. John Forrest, Del Worsham, Robert Height, Tommy Johnson Jr., Tony Bartone, Bob Gilbertson, and Matt Hagan. Top field qualifying session number 1 next. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the TikTok Gatornationals. It's time for top field qualifying session number 1. Top field in the staging lanes. Ready to go? Terry McMillan up on the line first. His quickest run in the last race was 2:03 with the 4. Can he break the 2-second barrier? $2:007. It was close. We'll go number 1 for now. But can he improve more throughout the race? Our first pair, we have Samantha in the far lane, Fisher in the near lane. $187.2 for Fisher and a 190 with a 5 for Samantha. Fisher goes 1, Samantha goes 2. Our next pair, we got Morgan Lucas in the near lane and Leah Pruitt in the green direct connection. Mopar Dodge drags her on the other side, on the far lane. Matching her teammate, Matt Hagan from Funny Car. And a 195.2 for Morgan Lucas. A 211 with a 1 for Pruitt. Morgan Lucas goes number 3. Leah Pruitt goes number 5. Our next pair, Antron Brown in the near lane. Doug Coletta on the far lane. $187.2 for Doug Coletta and a 197 flat for Antron Brown. Doug Coletta goes to number 1 spot. Antron Brown goes to number 5 spot. Our next pair, we got Austin Prock in the near lane. Sean Langdon in the far lane. A 191.9 for Sean Langdon. A 192 flat for Austin Prock. Langdon got him at the finish line by 1,000th. About 1,000th of a second. Sean Langdon goes up to number 4. Austin Prock goes to number 5. Our next pair, we have Corey Mack in the far lane, Brittany Forrest in the near lane. $187.1 for Corey Mack and a 188.3 for Brittany Forrest. Corey Mack goes up to number 2. Brittany Forrest goes to number 4. Our next pair, we have Clay Milliken in the near lane. Rhonda Hartman-Smith in the far lane. $188.3 for Milliken and a 191.6 for Rhonda Hartman-Smith. Milliken goes to number 5. Rhonda Hartman-Smith goes to number 7. Our next pair, we have Tony Schumacher in the far lane. Kenny Bernstein in the near lane. A 186.4 for Tony Schumacher, a 192.3 for Kenny Bernstein. Tony Schumacher goes to number 2. Kenny Bernstein only goes to number 11. Our next pair, we have Larry Dixon in the far lane, Mike Dunn in the near lane. Dixon loses the wing, a 186.6 for Dixon, a 187.1 for Mike Dunn. Larry Dixon goes number 3. Mike Dunn goes number 6. Terry McMillan is your bump spot with a 2.007. Our next pair, we have Gary Selzy in the far lane, Thunder in the near lane. A 184 flat for Thunder, a 186.6 for Gary Selzy. Thunder goes to number 2 spot. Gary Selzy goes to number 5 spot. Our next pair, with Morgan Lucas on the bump, with a 195.2. We have Melanie Trucks on the far lane, Brandon Bernstein in the near lane. 182.1 for Brandon Bernstein and 182.7 for Troxel. Brandon Bernstein goes to the top, number 1. Melanie Troxel goes number 3. Austin Prock now on the bump with a 192 flat in our final pair. We got Joe Amato on the far lane, Bones in the near lane. A 182.9 for Joe Amato and a 186.2 for Bones. Joe Amato goes number 4. Bones goes number 6. Here's your current top fuel field after session 1. Brandon Bernstein is your number 1 qualifier with a 182.1. Followed by Doug Coletta, Melanie Troxel, Joe Amato, Thunder, Bones, Tony Schumacher, and Larry Dixon running out your top 8. Bottom half of the field, Gary Selzy, number 9, followed by Corey Mack, Fisher, Mike Dunn, Brittany Force, Clay Milliken, Samantha, and Rhonda Harmon-Smith on the bump with a 191.6. Currently not qualified outside looking in. Sean Langdon, Austin Prock, Kenny Bernstein, Morgan Lucas, Antron Brown, Tony McMillan, and Leah Pruitt. When we come back, Mario Kart Session 2. Next. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the TikTok Gatornationals. It's time for Mario Kart qualifying session number 2. Our bump spot is currently Koopa Troopa with a 173.2. Up first, sitting number 25 is Toadette. Can she get in? 174.7 for Toadette. Not bad, but won't get her in the show. Toadette improves to number 22. Up next, now number 25 qualifier, Mario in the near lane. Bowser Jr., number 24 qualifier in the far lane. Koopa Troopa still sitting on the bump. A 170.7 from Mario. That'll get him in. A 174.4 for Bowser Jr. Mario moves to the number 6 spot. Bowser Jr. up to number 23. Up next, Wario now on the bump. He's on the bump with a 172.9. We have number 25 qualifier, Rosalina near lane. Number 22 qualifier, Waluigi in the far lane. $172.8 for Waluigi and $176.2 for Rosalina. Rosalina stays 25th. Waluigi gets in the show, but he's on the bump spot. With a 172.8. Up next, number 22 qualifier, Baby Mario in the far lane, or in the near lane. Cat Peach, number 21 qualifier in the far lane. Can they get in? A 170.8 for Cat Peach. She will get in. A 173.9 for Baby Mario. He will not. Baby Mario stays number 22. Cat Peach up to number 8. Diddy Kong now on the bump with a 172.2. Up next, number 21 qualifier, Donkey Kong in the near lane. Number 20 qualifier, Baby Peach in the far lane. Can they improve? A 171.2 for Baby Peach. That's a yes. A 173 flat for Donkey Kong. That'll be a no. Donkey Kong stays 20th. Baby Peach goes up to number 9. Light Blue Shy Guy now on the bump with a 172 flat. Our next pair, number 21 qualifier, Koopa Troopa in the far lane. Number 19 qualifier, Wario in the near lane. A 171.4 for Koopa Troopa and a 173.1 for Wario.
Can I read it?
Wario stays number 20. Koopa Troopa up to number 11. Tanuki Mario now on the bump. The 172 flat. Our next pair, Number 18 qualifier, Diddy Kong in the near lane. Number 17 qualifier, Light Blue Shy Guy in the far lane. And a 167.9 for Light Blue Shy Guy. It's going to take him right to the number 1 spot. 172.0 for Diddy Kong. Diddy Kong gets bumped down to 18th. Since Light Blue Shy Guy goes up to number 1 spot by a sow. Red Yoshi, who's in the far lane, is now on the bump. The 171.8. And it's Tanuki Mario, the number 17 qualifier in the near lane. A 169.5 for Tanuki Mario and a 170.1 for Red Yoshi. Tanuki Mario is number 4. Red Yoshi goes to number 5. Luigi, who's now in the far lane, is now on the bump spot with a 171.6. And the number 17 qualifier, Bowser in the near lane.
Oh, we're gonna win.
172.8 for Bowser, 172.9 for Luigi. No improvement. Bowser stays 17th. Luigi will stay your bump spot going into session number 3, number 16. I'm actually at number 15, Green Yoshi in the near lane. Number 13, Baby Luigi in the far lane. $169.4 for Baby Luigi and a 170.5 for Green Yoshi. Baby Luigi up to number 4 spot. Green Yoshi up to number 9. Our next pair. Number 12 qualifier, Dry Bones in the near lane. Number 10 qualifier, Light Blue Yoshi in the far lane. $169.7 for Light Blue Yoshi and a 170 flat for Dry Bones. Light Blue Yoshi goes to number 6. Dry Bones goes up to number 7. Next pair, your number 10 qualifier, Princess Peach in the near lane. Number 9 qualifier, Toad in the far lane. A 170.3 for Toad and a 172.8 for Princess Peach. Neither improved. Toad stays 9th, Princess Peach stays 10th. And our final pair, these two were 1 and 2 coming in. They're now 2 and 3. Number 3 qualifier, Shy Guy in the near lane. Number 2 qualifier, Lakitu in the far lane. Lakitu gets his number 1 spot back. 178 flat for Lakitu and a 169.9 for Shy Guy. They're going to stay 2 and 3. And with that, here's your Mario Kart field after 2 sessions of qualifying. Light Blue Shy Guy on your number 1 qualifier with a 167.9, followed by Lakitu, Shy Guy. Baby Luigi, Tanuki Mario, Light Blue Yoshi, Dry Bones, and Red Yoshi rounding out the top 8. Bottom half of the field. Toad number 9, followed by Princess Peach, Green Yoshi, Mario, Cat Peach, Baby Peach, Koopa Troopa, and Luigi on the bump. The 171.6. Currently not qualified is Bowser, Diddy Kong, Waluigi, Wario, Donkey Kong, Baby Mario, Bowser Jr., Toadette, and Rosalina. Pro Select Thundercycle, Session 2. Next. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the TikTok Gatornationals. It's time for Pro Select Thundercycle qualifying session number 2. Your bump spot is currently Scotty with a 183.7. Our first pair, we have number 20 qualifier, Linlin in the near lane. Number 19 qualifier, Michael in the far lane. Can they get in the show? 182.3 for Linlin. Linlin will get in. A 188.7 for Michael. He will not. Michael falls to number 20. Linlin up to number 12. James is your new bump spot holder with a 182.8. Our next pair, we have Samantha, the number 19 qualifier in the near lane, and King, the number 18 qualifier in the far lane. Can they get in? A 181.6 for Samantha and a 182.3 for King. They're both going to get in the show. Samantha goes up to number 11. King goes to number 14. Ray now on the bump with a 182.5. Our next pair, number 19 qualifier, Scotty in the near lane. Number 18 qualifier, James in the far lane. A 178.4 for James and a 178.5 for Scotty. They will both get in. James goes to number 5. Scotty goes to number 6. King is now on the bump. The 182.3 he just ran. Up next we have Terry in the near lane. Number 19 qualifier. 18 qualifier, Ray Ray in the far lane. 177.5 for Ray Ray. A 181.6 for Terry. They will both get in. Ray Ray goes to number 3 spot. Terry goes to number 15. Philip is now on the bump. So 182.3 as well. And he is in the far lane. And he races Nate, the number 19 qualifier. A 179.4 for Philip and a 183 flat for Nate. Philip is going to improve. Nate's not going to get in. Nate stays 19th. Philip goes up to number 11. Terry will be on the bump going into session 3 with a 181.6. Our next pair, number 14 qualifier, Violet in the near lane. Number 13 qualifier, Sinister in the far lane. A 181.6 for Violet and a 182.2 for Sinister. Violet stays 14th. Sinister will stay 13th. Our next pair, number 12 qualifier, Mar in the near lane. Number 10 qualifier, Dallas in the far lane. A 180 with an 8 for Dallas and 184 flat for Mar. Mar stays 12th. Dallas will stay 10th. Our next pair, number 9 qualifier, Caleb in the near lane. Number 8 qualifier, Steve in the far lane. This is potential round 1 matchup if things were not to change. Steve at 175.8. Caleb at 188.8. Oof. Steve goes straight to the top, number 1. Caleb, despite improving his time, not better than his teammate, Scotty. Therefore, he stays number 9. Our next pair, number 6 qualifier, Michelle in the near lane. Number 5 qualifier, Snow in the far lane. A 180 with a 3 for Snow and a 182.6 for Michelle. Michelle stays 6th. Snow stays 5th. Our final pair, we have number 3 qualifier, Vegeta in the near lane. Number 2 qualifier, Eric in the far lane. A 177.9 for Vegeta and a 178.6 for Eric. Eric stays 2, Vegeta stays 3. Here's your Pro Cycle Motorcycle field after qualifying session number 2. Steve, your new number 1 qualifier. Okay, I gotta look at what he ran. Steve ran a 175.8. Followed by Eric, Vegeta, Ray Ray, Snow, Michelle, James, and Scotty rounding out your top 8. Bottom half of the field, Caleb number 9, followed by Dallas, Phillip, Mar, Sinister, Violet, Samantha, and King on the bump. I can't remember what King ran. I think it's a 181.6. Confirm 181.6. King on the bump. Currently not qualified, Linlin, Terry, Nate, and Michael. Pro Stock, qualifying session 2. Next. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the TikTok Gatornationals. It's been a couple days since I continued. This is session number 2 of Pro Stock. We have Greg Anderson in the near lane, Jason Lyon in the far lane. $179.4 for Line at $186.1 for Greg Anderson. Jason Line went number 16. I forgot to mention who was on the bump. It was Vidusky with a 1.800. Jason Line goes to the bump. The 179.4 he just ran. Greg Anderson stays 22nd. Our next pair, now number 21 qualifier, Kenny Koretsky near lane. Number 20 qualifier, V Gaines, far lane. 182.3 for Kenny Gretzky, 184.2 for V Gaines. V Gaines falls to 21, and Kenny Gretzky remains number 20. Our next pair, number 19 qualifier, Warren Johnson in the near lane. Number 18 qualifier, Dave Hazard in the far lane. I was right with the name. Jason Line still on the bump with 139.4. 174.7 for Dave Hazard. That'll get him back into the show. 182.9 for Warren Johnson. I cannot talk today. Dave Hazard goes up to the number 8 spot. Warren Johnson stays number 19. Your bump spot is now Erica Enders. 178.4. And she's in the far lane. Vodusky is the number 18 qualifier currently. With the 180 flat, 1.800. So to get back in the show, he must run better than Enders. 178.4 if she does not run faster here. And she did, a 173.1 for Eric Enders. A 179.7 for Vodusky, though. Despite improving, Vodusky stays number 18. Eric Enders moved up to number 4 spot. Dave Conley in the near lane, is currently on the bump with his 177.4. And unless he improves, he will be there till the next session. When we have the number 15 qualifier, Fireball in the far lane. Dave Conley, current bump spot in the near lane. $175.4 for Fireball and a 177.3 for Conley. Fireball moves up to the number 13 spot. Dave Conley is going to stay on the bump with now a 177.3. He'll be there for the next session. Next, number 15 qualifier, Biggie in the near lane. Number 14 qualifier, Hockey in the far lane. Hockey at 174 flat, Biggie at 177.4. Biggie stays number 15. Hockey goes up to the number 7 spot. Our next pair, now number 13 qualifier, Roger Dodger in the near lane. 12 qualifier, Bones in the far lane. 173.5 for Bones and a 176.7 for Roger Dodger. Dodger stays 13th. Hockey goes to number 7? 6. Number 6, my bad. Our next pair, number 12 qualifier, Civic in the near lane. Number 10 qualifier is John Cena in the far lane. Civic struggles off the line on 172.4 for Cena, 187.9 for Civic. Civic stays 12th. Cena goes to number 3. Our next pair, number 10 qualifier, CM Punk in the near lane. Number 8 qualifier, Bulma in the far lane. Bulma 171.8. CM Punk a 175.1. Punk stays 10. Bulma up to number 3. Our next pair, we have number 7 qualifier, Alan Johnson in the near lane. And currently number 5 qualifier, sorry, they keep looking behind me because that's where the cars are at, Toyota in the far lane. $171.5 for Toyota and a 174.6 for Alan Johnson. Alan Johnson stays 7th. Toyota goes up to number 2. And our final pair, the number 1 qualifier, Fastest in the far lane. Now number 3 qualifier, Zan in the near lane. Can Zan take that number 2 spot back or take number 1? 169.3 for Fast Fish. He's going to remain your number 1 qualifier. Zan will go number 2 with a 169.8. Fast Fish stays number 1. Zan goes back to number 2. Your current Pro Stock field is as followed. Fast Fish now number 1 to 169.3, followed by Zan, Toyota, Bulma, Cena, Enders, Alan Johnson, and Bones, rounding out your top 8. Your bottom half of the field, Hockey number 9, followed by Punk, Hazard, Civic, Dodger, Fireball, Biggie, And Dave Conley on the bump with a 177.3. Currently not qualified. Jason Line, Vidusky, Warren Johnson, Kenny Koretsky, V. Gaines, and Greg Anderson. Funny Car Session 2. Next. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the TikTok Gatornationals. Time for qualifying Session 2 of Funny Car. On the bump, we have Dale Creasy Jr. with a 180 with a 6. We have Matt Hagan, number 25 qualifier, up to start. Creasy on the bump with a 180 with a 6. Can he get in? 196.9 for Matt Hagan. Hagan improves. Will not get off the number 23 spot. I said he was 25. He's 23. Only has 23 funny cars. Creasy still on the bump. 180 with a 6. Our next player, number 22 qualifier. Bob Gilbertson in the near lane. Number 21 qualifier. Tony Bartone in the far lane. $181.4 for Gilbertson and $184 flat for Tony Bartone. Gilbertson moves up to number 19, knocking Bartone down to 22, which he'll stay. Up next, number 21 qualifier, Tommy Johnson Jr. in the lane. 20 qualifier, Robert Height in the far lane. $179.3 for Robert Height, $184.5 for Tommy Johnson Jr. Robert Height will get in. Robert Height moves up to the number 14 spot, knocking Creasy out. Tommy Johnson Jr. is going to stay number 21 due to that. We're on Caps on the bump with a 180 with a 3. Our next pair, now number 19 qualifier, Del Worsham in the near lane. Number 18 qualifier, John Force in the far lane. $177 flat for Del Worsham, or $177.7 for John Force. Del Worsham up to number 10, John Force up to number 11. Robert Height now on the bump, the 179.3. And our next pair, number 19 qualifier, Dale Creasy Jr. in the near lane. Number 18 qualifier, Ron Capps in the far lane. $175.9 for Ron Capps and a $178.3 for Dale Creasy Jr. Ron Capps up to number 9, Dale Creasy Jr. up to number 15. Frank Pedregon now on the bump with a 178.6. Our next pair, number 19 qualifier, Courtney Force near lane. Number 17 qualifier, Tony Pedregon in the far lane. $170 with a 9 for Tony Pedregon and a $178.5 for Courtney Force. Tony Pedregon goes straight to the top, your number 1 qualifier. Courtney Force goes to number 17. Dale Creasy Jr. is back on the bump spot. The 178.3. Up next, number 19 qualifier in the near lane. 18 qualifier in the near lane, my bad. Frank Pedregon. And in the far lane, number 15 qualifier, Jimmy Pedregon. $175.9 for Jimmy Pedregon and $177.5 for Frank Pedregon. Jimmy Pedregon up to number 11. Frank Pedregon up to number 14. Ricardo in the near lane is your new number 16 qualifier with his 177.9. Nobody else can bump out. Nobody else can bump in this session. Jim Epler is the current number 12 qualifier. Can they improve? Epler 172.8. Ricardo goes to 177 flat. Jim Epler moves to number 5. Ricardo goes up to number 14. John Force will be your number 16 qualifier going into session number 3. Our next pair, we have number 10 qualifier Eric in the near lane. Number 9 qualifier Haletic in the far lane. 170 with a 9 for Halidic, and a 174-9 for Eric. Halidic goes to number 2. Eric stays number 10. Our next pair, number 9 qualifier, Melon in the near lane. Number 8 qualifier, Sinister in the far lane. Possible round 1 matchup if nothing were to change. But it's going to a 172.5 for Sinister and a 173.3 for Melon. Sinister moves up to number 5. Melon will stay number 9. Our next pair, Cruz Petragon in the near lane, number 8 qualifier. Number 6 qualifier, Thunder in the far lane. And they improve. 171.7 for Thunder and a 174.5 for Cruz Petragon. Thunder moves up to number 4. Cruz will stay number 8. In our final pair of Funny Car qualifying session number 2, we have number 5 qualifier, Fisher in the near lane. Number 3 qualifier, Mellow in the far lane. Mellow with a 169.7. He will go number 1. A 172.6 for Fisher. Mellow goes to number 1. Fisher stays 5. Here's your Funny Car field after qualifying session 2. Mellow, your number 1 qualifier, with a 169.7. He just ran. Followed by Tony Petragon, Halidic, Thunder, Fisher, Sinister, Jim Epler, and Cruz Petragon rounding out the top half. Your bottom half of the field, you got number 9, Melon, followed by Eric, Ron Capps, Jimmy Petragon, Del Worsham, Scoop Ricardo, Frank Petragon, and John Force on the bump, the 177.7. Currently not qualified, Dale Creasy Jr., Courtney Forrest, Robert Height, Bob Gilbertson, Tommy Johnson Jr., Tony Bartone, and Matt Hagan. Top field, qualifying session 2. Next. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the TikTok Gatornationals. It's time for top field qualifying session number 2. Our bump spot is currently Rhonda Herman Smith for the 191.6. Up first, number 23 qualifier, Leah Pruitt in the far lane. Running the matching drag so that Matt Hagan is running in Funny Car. Will not break the 2s yet. It should be a 209. Pruitt will stay 23rd. Herman Smith still in the bump. 191.6. Next pair, number 22 qualifier, Terry McMillan in the near lane, also looking to try to break the 2-second barrier. And number 21 qualifier, Antron Brown in the far lane. And McMillan will do it. Antron Brown goes a 191.4 and will get slightly into the show. McMillan a 198.2. Terry McMillan will stay number 22. You know he's now under the 2-second barrier. Antron Brown goes to the bump spot, number 16 with that 191.4. Up next, you have number 21 qualifier, Morgan Lucas near lane. Number 20 qualifier, Kenny Bernstein far lane. $185.8 for Kenny Bernstein and a $190 with a 9 for Morgan Lucas. Kenny Bernstein goes up to number 6 spot. Morgan Lucas up to number 17. Does not make the show. Samantha is now on the bump with a 190 with a 5. Our next pair, now number 21 qualifier, Austin Prock, near lane. Number 20 qualifier, Sean Langan in the far lane. $189.8 for Langdon and a 190 with an 8 for Prock. Austin Prock goes to number 18. Sean Langdon goes to the bump spot, number 16, to 189.8. We have now number 21 qualifier, Rhonda Harmon Smith in the near lane. Number 17 qualifier, Samantha in the far lane. A 186.9 for Samantha and a 190 with a 9 for Rhonda Harmon Smith. Samantha moves up to number 11. Rhonda Harmon Smith moves up to number 20. Clay Milliken in the near lane is your new number 16 qualifier, but no one else can bump in, no one else can be bumped out. So see who's number 16 here in a little bit. Current number 16, Clay Milliken near lane. Number 15, Brittany Force far lane. 186-1 from Clay Millican, a 186-4 for Brittany Force. Clay Millican goes up to number 7. Brittany Force goes to number 10. That'll be around one matchup if nothing were to change. Up next, your number 16 qualifier, Mike Dunn in the near lane. Number 15 qualifier, Fisher in the far lane. A 184-1 from Mike Dunn, a 186-3 for Fisher. Mike Dunn goes up to the number 6 spot. Fisher up to the number 12 spot. Our next pair, number 16 qualifier, Corey Mack in the near lane. Number 14 qualifier, Gary Selzy in the far lane. A 185-2 for Selzy and a 185-5 for Corey Mack. Gary Selzy moves up to the number 7 spot. Corey Mack moves up to number 8. Our next pair, number 15 qualifier, Larry Dixon in the near lane. Number 12 qualifier, Tony Schumacher in the far lane. A 183-3 for Tony Schumacher and 186-7 for Larry Dixon. Larry Dixon stays 15th. Tony Schumacher moves up to number 5. Our next pair, number 12 qualifier, Bones in the near lane. Number 6 qualifier, Thunder in the far lane. 181-6 for Thunder and 183-6 for Bones. That's a career best time for Thunder and Bones. Thunder goes up to the number 1 qualifying spot with a 181-6. Bones goes up to number 7. Our next pair, the now number 5 qualifier, Joe Amato near lane. Number 4 qualifier, Melanie Troxel in the far lane. 178-9 for Troxel. She'll take the number 1 spot. Amato slows to a 189-3. Melanie Troxel goes number 1, and Joe Amato stays number 5. And our final pair, our current number 4 qualifier, Doug Coletta in the near lane. Number 3 qualifier, Brandon Bernstein in the far lane. A 177-8 for Brandon Bernstein. A 187 flat for Doug Coletta. Brandon Bernstein stays number 1, or goes up to number 1. Doug Coletta will stay number 4. Here is your top field after session number 2. Brandon Bernstein resets the national record by a thou. From what he had, it was a 177-9. It's now a 177-8. And Brandon Bernstein just ran, followed by Melanie Troxel, Thunder, Doug Coletta, Joe Amato, Tony Schumacher, Bones, and Mike Dunn rounding out the top half of the field. Your bottom half, we got Gary Selzy, followed by Corey Mack, Kenny Bernstein, Clay Millican, Brittany Force, Fisher, Larry Dixon, and Samantha on the bump with a 186-9. Currently not qualified, we got Sean Langdon, Austin Prock, Morgan Lucas, Rhonda Harper-Smith, Antron Brown, Terry McMillan, and Leah Pruitt. Qualifying session 3, Pro Stock, next.